Whoa. Hey, you guys aren't supposed to be in there. Actually ruined the camera being in there. Well, while I make some popcorn, I'm gonna fill you guys on a little secret on what you needed to get started on saltwater fishing. All right, this is AMA Fishing, and here's some quick tips on what I learned over the years to save you some money. Quick bargain deals, baits, lures, tackle, and everything you need to keep everything organized and secure to get you on some fish, right? Oh yeah, one last thing, stay tuned to see bonus footage about how to catch black drum on artificial, all right? Stay tuned, thanks. All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to my yellow background, my coffee pot, and of course the back rack that keeps this live going. This is AMA Fishing here, like I said before, and I'm about to give you some tips and tricks and things that I learned as I started saltwater fishing. As I started saltwater fishing about a year and a half ago. Okay, so I came from Arizona, quick background check. The only kind of fishing I ever did was you get a worm, you hook it on there, you get a bobber, you throw it out in the water, and you wait until something goes down and takes it, and then that's it. Until I came over here, and a buddy took me over to Clem's Marina, right when you come over to JFK, and he let me use one of his rigs, and he hooked basically everything up for me, gave me some shrimp, and I swear to God, I thought I was mission impossible trying to cut the shrimp in the littlest bits and wasting so much time. After that, I went and purchased my own setup, another setup, wasted a ton of money. So here I'm trying to get you guys to cut corners and save you some money on some time, okay? So we're gonna go through here. I have a list so I don't start jaw jacking like I was doing right now and going down a rabbit hole that for other information, we gotta make this video any longer than it shouldn't be, okay? So here we go. The first thing you're gonna need is, boom, a fishing license. Yes, big thing here. Okay, so just go buy it. It's good for the year. If you want, you can buy one for a lifetime. You can buy one for both. You can buy the hunting and the fishing if you do both. So just take care of that, okay? So the next thing we're gonna get into right now is gonna be the rod and reel setup, okay? So let's just go into right now. See how you get overwhelmed when you walk into a store and you see so many reels and so many rods everywhere and you don't know where to begin, and it just blows your freaking mind. And that's what happened to me. I had a buddy, thankfully, that put me on my first basic setup. It was a Shakespeare. It was great. I think it was a 2000. It did what I needed to do, and it first got me, into the game. It had mono on there. It did its job. However, I could use a better setup, and then I got one. So everything you put into it should reflect on how much you want to go. So like if you're just getting into it, you don't know if you're in fishing yet, you don't know if you're going to dive in head first, I wouldn't say drop loads of money on it yet. You can get a basic combo, but I would stick with two brands that work really well. Okay, Penn or Shimano. Now Penn, I think, is the best basic setup to get going with. They have all sizes, they have combos ready to go, and then it gets your foot in the door to see if you want to start fishing or not, okay? So the first one I ever got was a Penn Fierce. I think that one ran me about 80 bucks. It was a combo. It was a 4,000 because I don't know if I was going to do jetty fishing. I don't know if I was going to do inshore fishing, and I wanted to do both. And that combo kind of, covered everything. So we can go real quick into it. So a reel size, they come in sometimes 1,000 series. So 1,000 you can say is pretty small. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and 6,000 when you start getting to your big surf setups, big fishing reels. This one right here, this little guy is a Shimano Nasky 2500, okay? Really small. Basically you can palm it, okay? So a 2500 series. Now, if you're gonna do inshore fishing, now what I like to do is I like to stick to 2,500 and 3,000. That one I feel really comfortable with. There's enough drag. There's all the reels will do the job that you need it to do. If you start getting into the 4,000 series, now that's gonna be for your jetties. That's gonna be for your bigger fish that you don't know what you're gonna hook onto, and they might take you for a run. You're gonna need that extra line, that extra stopping power to put in the hurting on them. So you can go to your local bait shops, and a lot of them have combos put together already. Now, don't let them finesse you, okay? Go online, do your research, find out what those combos are going for. Sometimes Academy has better deals. So go and find those deals if you're looking for. Luz makes great combos. Luz makes beautiful combos, and they're all full of colors and everything like that. Pick up one of those. Those work great, and their customer service is outstanding, okay? So the only thing I would say is your rod and reel is gonna be everything, okay? However, if you're waiting or you're just starting out and you're not aware, your situational awareness is not there yet, you're gonna be doing all kinds of crazy things. You're gonna be bumping into stuff. You're gonna be dropping it. You know, things are gonna get damaged. And you don't want this expensive $200-something reel that you just dropped a lot of money on combo to get dunked in water, to get road rash, to get thrashed, broken, things of that nature, okay? So start small and figure out this is what you like and figure out how you're gonna treat your gear. Now the rod size. Now what I started with a 7.6 because, you know, you're really trying to learn how to cast and you wanna get more bang for the buck because the more water you cover, the more area you cover. And however, when you're casting and you're looking for fish, you wanna cover the most water. So therefore you should be throwing like a 7.6 all the way down to a 7 foot. Anything below, that should be after you get your cast down because you're gonna be casting, you're gonna be muscling it. It's just, I did it, everybody else did it. You're gonna be looking at somebody to the left of you and to the right of you and they're just bombing cast and it looks like they're not doing any work at all. And then we're gonna learn that later on. If you guys want, I can post a video on how to make casts and swim jigs and I'm gonna do that later on, okay? But for right now, I think you should go to 7.6 to 7 range. Here in Texas, there's a lot of good brands and a lot of good reels. Sorry, there's a lot of good rods that put out decent prices. Okay, like I said, so if you get the combo, then you'll already be stacked. You won't have to worry about it. If you do buy a combo, so let's break this apart. You need to take a look at the fine writing right there. Put it this way, like if I'm reading it. So we're gonna do this way right here. This is a St. Croix. Now I can get into this rod later on. This isn't what I fish with. This is the girlfriend's setup, okay? So here. So it's gonna break it down for you real quick. So the first thing is gonna be medium power. And that's what I recommend going with, okay? The next part is gonna be fast action, okay? If you see anything heavy, medium heavy, fast heavy and things like that, that's gonna be more for your bass, your freshwater range, okay? That means they're gonna have more flex in the middle versus if you have any kind of fast, medium, things like that, it's gonna be more at the tip. And don't worry about that yet if you're just getting started. Just if you're picking something up, check here and just make sure if you're doing the saltwater inshore fishing that it doesn't say anything medium heavy or anything like that because it'll work. It will, but I think you'll hang on to it longer later on when you still have that a year from now and you have that first setup and you're like, oh man, you know, this still works. Or you have somebody going with you and you're like, hey, use this setup. This is what I started with and it works great. So it's gonna have 7 here. It's for your 7 foot, okay? It's gonna have medium power. Now, that's what I said, that's what you should go with. Now I go with fast action. There's a bunch of other actions you could go with as long as it just doesn't say heavy, because like I said, it's for your freshwater, okay? Now it's gonna have 6 to 12 pound. It's gonna have your capacity for line, okay? Now when you get your reel spooled up, we can go into that also. After I'm done with this rod here, it's gonna be bouncing around. So, and it's gonna have the weight that this rod should be loaded with. So it's gonna be here, so it's gonna be at 1/4 to 5/8 ounce. Okay, so that's gonna go into how heavy your weight should be on there to properly load this rod. Some people say you can throw over, some people say you can throw under. To get the maximum benefit out of this rod, you should throw what the requirements are within this without risking snapping it, breaking it, and then you can't get another rod. And you're sitting there like, why did I do that? Okay. All right, so now that you've bought your combo, you have your rod and reel set up and you're ready to go, and you're like, all right, where do I get it spooled at? So I wouldn't recommend really getting it spooled at Academy. I went, and then the guy was like, we don't have braid, we don't have this, mono will work, and I listened to him and I had mono, and then I wasted a lot of money. I wouldn't go with mono here in saltwater just because it works for really well for trout. However, when it loses its memory, you know, that elasticity that it has, it'll lose, and then it's kind of jarred after that. I recommend going with braid. Okay, now if you have the 2500 to 3000 series, I would go with 12 pound to 15 pound. That's plenty. Okay, so you just ask them for a braid. They'll be more than happy. Here at Roy's Bait and Tackle or any kind of tackle shop here in Corpus area, they'll help you out. Just be like, hey, I just need some light braid, 20 pound the most. If you really want to push it and be safe, if you're not good at your knots, go with 20 pound braid. Pick a cool color. Don't pick anything crazy. Just pick green, white. Okay, and then they'll spool it up for you. It should be no less than 20 bucks. Okay, so you got your rod, your combo. Now you got your line. You got braid on there. Now you're ready to rock and roll. Now you're wondering, shoot, what am I going to tie it onto? We're going to get into that next. All right, you got your fishing license. You got your rod. You got your reel. You got your line. You're standing there like, let's catch some fish. The next thing you need is a leader. Now, I didn't know what a leader was until I started fishing, and I learned because I was tying straight on the braid, and you shouldn't do that. You can do that, but you shouldn't. So there's two options you can go. You can go monofilament, which is a little bit more like what a lot of bass fishermen use. It's real elastic. It works. It's a little bit cheaper. Or you can go fluorocarbon, which disappears in the water a little bit better. To me, I fish fluorocarbon. I like it. Everybody has their preference. I use 20 pound. So I tie 20 pound onto my 15 pound, and that's plenty of stopping power. And I can go into later on. I think I've already had a video before of how I tie my leader on. I use a uni knot, and I tie whatever knot I need to later on. So you can go look back in those videos if you want to. Right now, it's just about getting the gear ready to go. Okay, so now that you have your leader going, all right, you have your line, you have your leader set up. Now you need your jigs and your lures. This is your bread right here, okay? Boom. Find yourself a little waterproof case, a little Tupperware, it doesn't matter, something small just to hold all your gear in. Now, a jig head. If you've never heard of what a jig head is, I didn't know what the hell a jig head was when I started fishing. This is a jig head, okay? It has some kind of lead weight here and some kind of shank, which is a hook, okay? You're gonna find one of these. Now, there's a lot of brands that make really good jig heads. I myself like Naughty Hooker. They've done really well. They've held up the past time. And then they have these ridges here, which there's 1, 2, and they really grab the bait when you slide it on. So we'll get into, what baits you get on and how to fix it on when you're done. But I recommend getting 2 types of a jig head, and then this one here. We'll use this one. Boom. Owner twist lock hook. Okay, you slide the bait on here, twist it on, and then you fixate it on here. So when it swims, it'll swim this way, and I'll show you guys that later on. So for the first ones I recommend you getting started with is going to be, so this is the beast. This isn't the one that you should grab, but it'll say owner on it still. So it should say owner, and it'll say twist lock here. It won't say beast. And you should look for 3/1/16, not 1/8. 3/01/16. Okay, this one is different. Trying something else out, so don't go for that yet. This is what it should look like. It should have a small little lead weight here, twist lock. This one, the 1/8 has bigger. Okay, jig head, look down. This is the 1/16. Don't get the 1/16. It should say 1/8. Even if you get DOA, if you get Berkeley, or if you get some other kind of jig, whatever jig you want to get into, find what you like. I would recommend just starting with the 1/8 first, okay? So the 1/16 owner twist lock, and then the 1/8 to get started with. And you'll figure out why, or I'll tell you why in a second. Oh man, this is why. I wish somebody would have told me what to do. Okay, your lures. I think all you need to start out with is a paddle tail, which is what we're gonna show right here. Okay, a paddle tail, really simple. So it has the body of a fish and the booty right here is what I like to call it, but it has this flapping mechanism. So when it's going through the water, it makes this motion here and it's paddling through the water, the paddle tail, okay? Now I should recommend you can grab one of these. I like Slayer Inc. Not a lot of places like to carry those. I get this one at Fin Factory. There's a lot of other places that carry really good paddle tails. Everybody makes a paddle tail. Saltwater Assassin does, Bass Assassin. A lot of places carry paddle tails. Okay, so don't worry. If you can't find one that looks good, grab one. I recommend starting out with the black and chartreuse tail if you're fishing here in the Corpus waters, because it's always, majority of the time, it's going to be blowing, dirty water. And even if it's not, this dark silhouette profile will attract bites. Trout, redfish. I've caught a lot of fish. Caught a lot of fish. I said it again, man. I've caught a lot of fish on this lure right here, okay? Your next one. Now, this is just a Texas favorite right here. I bet you can guess, because I've already showed the lure. Down south. This is just the color I was starting out with. Usually the one I like to go with is Chicken on a Chain. And if you really have a hard time finding the name like I did, it's on the back. This one's Flamingo Shad. Because I'll get into later why I picked this color, but so this one right here, same thing. So it has a silhouette of a fish all the way extended to this little booty right here. So it's a little paddle tail. Now what they have mentioned is that it swims on the fall. So once you pop it up, and I'll show you guys later how to work those jig heads and those swimmers. Once you pop it, this thing right here will swim all the way down, enticing that bite from those fish. Okay, so you have all those, and then just because they've been my favorite lure ever, if you can find them at your local bait shop, if not, that's fine. I find something, recommend a little stinky. So Z-Man is everywhere, so you can find Z-Man. These are jerk shads. Now, jerk shads are a little different, okay? So you have, like I said, the paddle tail, and now you have the jerk shad. Jerk shads are gonna be faced like this, okay? Meaning they're gonna dart through the water once you're working them. And I'll show you later how to work them, but right now, so you can grab a pack of jerk shads to help you out. Don't get too crazy. Pick up a pack of paddle tails, jerk shads, like I said, something stinky, something dark. Don't get any of the crazy colors. Stick to something natural that looks like the Chicken on the Chain, your black and chartreuse, and just go with that to start out with, okay? All right, so you have your rod and reel, you have your line, now you have your leader, now you have your your jig heads, now you have all the lures you need, okay? Don't get crazy. You don't need to get crazy. Just grab, like I said, the basic amount, and all you need is something to carry them in. So like I said, grab you a case like this, you can keep everything separated with. The last thing we can work, so we started from the bottom of the water column. Jig heads will help you keep that top, or help you touch the bottom of the surface because you're bouncing it along. Those twist locks are gonna keep you right here. Now, to get to the top, once you feel like you've mastered this, and you can go back and watch my top water special, you can snag yourself a top water. Now, I made a whole video on top water, so if you go back and watch it, but this is gonna work your top of your water column. So you have your owner twist locks here, top water, and your jig heads. The fish are in different water columns, believe it or not, okay? If it's really hot, they're gonna be really deep, okay? If it's kind of mid-morning or how they're feeling, they're gonna be right here. Early morning, late evening, they're gonna be right here hitting top water. Maybe. Don't even quote me on that. All right, now that you have everything set up, you need to know how to tie everything on. Now I recommend you go into Walmart right now and grab yourself a pair of snips. Okay, a pair of snips. You can grab a 99-cent pair, or you can grab one of these ones right here that have a little tool to help you change out your top waters later on, but you don't need it. Just grab a pair of little mini scissors, tie a dummy cord on there, that way you don't lose it later on when you're fidgeting on the water. Also, a pair of hemostats or needle nose pliers. You can grab needle nose pliers, you can grab them at your Ace Hardware store, you can grab them from wherever. As long as you have something here, just in case that fish guts that hook deep, you can do some life-saving procedure, get in there, extract it, and send that fish on his merry way to grow big, and you can catch him later on, okay? So I do recommend getting some pliers of some sort there. Now, also one other thing, so now that you have your rod, reel, your jigs, your bait, and everything is ready to set up, and you have your snips, you have your, your hemostats, you catch a fish. what do you do next? Okay, we're measuring the fish. Calm down. So, big thing to check, you can check really quick on your smartphone, is check the size range that you need to keep a fish. Now it's called slot. I didn't know that either. So when you catch a fish, it has to be between slot range. So like if you catch a redfish, it has to be between 20 to 28 is what you can keep that fish. You can keep your daily limit, which is 3, which means that day. Trout is gonna be, to be on the safe side, I would go a little over 15 to 27. You can keep 5 of those a day, okay? Drum, 14 up to 28, I believe also. You can keep 5 of those also. Flounder, I believe you can keep, I can't remember, but I know their range is 14 to, I can't remember that one either because I have to look it up. I don't catch flounder that often. But that's gonna change soon, I think to 15 later on. But like I said, look up your size and your slot limits and carry something that you can measure with. A lot of rods now also carry lures that are made within. Those are like your Waterloo and everything else like that. But carry yourself some kind of tape measure, something to measure with that you can guesstimate, cooler or something like that. That way you don't get stopped by the game warden and get fined, because that will be really bad and you don't want that, okay? So, and do what you can to keep preserving the fish here. Our fishery is really important, so make sure you're doing your due diligence to make sure you're making that good measurement. And if it's too much and you got to guesstimate, just let them go back and catch another. You'll feel a lot better about it, right? You've caught the fish. Now you need to somehow to grab that fish and bring him in so you can take a picture so you can show your friends that you're a really big fisherman and you know how to catch freaking fish. We're going to show you right now. Here. Get yourself, if you don't want to dive in head first, like I said, this is about 30 bucks. You don't need it, but this is a Forever Last net. Works great. It has a hook. Hook it onto yourself and it'll float. And if you're not waiting, it can sit right there and it'll stay out of water. Very durable. I've had it for about 6 months now and it's done great. These right here will save your life, okay? Pair of fish grips. You bring that fish in, they have their mouth open, hook that in there and grip them and they won't come undone. You can hold it up, nice picture, and then you're ready to go. I can't tell you, I've lost a couple big fish. Not my fish, the girlfriend's fish. She caught huge fish. And I thought I can hold them by the gill because I saw it on a bunch of YouTube videos. And guess what? I dropped it. At that, when bought a pair of these, haven't lost a fish since. It's been about a year since I've had these and they've held up great. The last thing, not last thing, but coming up to there, you have all this gear. You have your fishing rod and reel, your line, you have your leader, you have your jig heads, you have your bait. Now you have your net, you have your fish grips. Now you're ready to go. What do I put it all in? So you have a tackle box. Now, get yourself a bag. I use a bag and it works amazing. So I use this little Pissy Fun bag, get it on Amazon. I think it's like 20, 25 bucks. If not, I used a fanny pack for the longest time and that worked amazing because I have had the fanny pack on and I slung it crossbody. I had my phone, my keys, my 2 packets of bait that I need, my snips, my extra leader, and that was it. Because I had my rod and reel in one hand, and then you have your stringer here that you can hook up because it's still going crossbody. Okay, so I do recommend grabbing a fanny pack. Lighter, it keeps you from changing out your lures constantly, and you can go in and out. And you can keep it in your truck, your car, if you want to try fishing later on. So I do recommend that, okay? Oh yeah, and I forgot one more thing. You guys wanted to see bonus footage on how to catch big black drum coming up, okay? I'll show you right freaking now. What I showed earlier, 1/16 ounce owner twist lock hook, okay? This is the first part. It stays light enough to where it floats right in front of them and they have enough time to smell it and eat it. The next thing right here, this is the money. This is the money. This is the money. Boom. Berkeley Gold Jerk Shads. They have this liquid in here that's just fish baba cagoule. It's good stuff, okay? So it's a jerk shad here. I'm gonna show you how you rig this on. Now this goes with all your baits too, okay? This is just gonna help you out. So you put this through here, boom, slides on, and all you're gonna do is just twist it. Now I learned this from Salt Strong. Okay, this isn't something I came up with. I learned it from them. See there? Now to get the hook right, because man, I had a pain in the butt every time I tried it. To do this, you mark it with your finger. So you stretch it out, don't stretch it out, but lay it across naturally. Put your finger there, and then that's where the hook's gonna go. All the way through, and it should sit like that. Perfect, natural. And then you throw it, and I'll show you how to work it later on. Throw it, twitch, twitch, let it fall, okay? Twitch, twitch, let it fall. If you think there's black drum in the area, this is what you're gonna throw, okay? The second thing I used to catch them on was here. Now this was, I think a couple weeks ago, I think I made the video there, but my GoPro shot out a little bit. Oh, and I just sold my GoPro too, so it didn't come in until later on. I'm getting the 8 to help me because my other one was just, it was working okay, but there were still some complications with the SD card, so we're gonna change it out and try something different, okay? So here we go. Now, aim fishing lures, okay? Another great one that caught some really big black drum. I just don't want you guys going and buying all kinds of crazy lures, but so you have this one here, okay? So you have the front. Now, the top of it here says AM Fishing Products, okay? So you're gonna hit the last letter. You're gonna start here in the middle, slide it on, push, 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 until you start seeing it bulge right here, okay? Pop the hook through and finish sliding it on all the way till it goes across, and then kind of like fix it a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural, okay? Now this has been chewed up a little bit. It's one I reused, little curl tail, okay? Now this one here, I did a 1, 2, and let it sit for a second. 1, 2, let it sit for a second. And I'm gonna show you some bonus footage too afterward of me getting on some trout, and I was using the Texas brooch, which I ran out of. And that one, I was using a Jig Head, AM Fishing product, and I was doing a 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll get into that later, but I'm just gonna throw the footage on there. But I also caught some black drum on this also, just doing the 1, 2, and letting it sit. They like to sit at the bottom. Their mouths are curved down. They like to search and grab and strike, all right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the footage. Like I said, if any more questions, comments, concerns, let me know, and I will tell you all about it. Now, if you just missed a giveaway, we did a badass Trucador giveaway. It was $50 to some of their gear that I like to wear, and also some AM fishing products. Okay, stay tuned. Follow on Instagram. We're gonna be having another one coming up when we hit 1,500 followers, and it looks like it's gonna be something along the lines of a custom or maybe a backpack full of gear. We'll see once we start coming up on that 1,500, 2,000 followers on Instagram. So like, follow, and keep up with it, guys. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, drop it below. If you need something to add that you've learned, add it below. That fisherman that's starting out and they want to get on, show them how, drop it down below. I'll see you guys next time. Later.